Hi everyone, we have today with us Mr. Arnold for the Cup of Wellness. Mr. Arnold, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure, Tisha. Sure, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure and honor to be talking about mental health for my champs and all the folks who are following. A little bit about myself. I'm the founder of Lokyata. We're an awareness initiative to bring wider awareness and acceptance on the background of life skills. Our objective is to talk about holistic life skills, the skills that schools don't teach us directly, and parents are either not equipped or ignore to focus on that. So between schools and parenting and the rest of society, kids tend to have a big gap in their holistic development, and life skills is, in my opinion, is a big part of it.
Yes.
As a subsection of life skills, mental health is a big gap as well, and that's really what we're here to talk about. I guess so, right?
Okay,
So
so my first question for you is, so far, what has been your experience and what is wellness for you?
my experience with Lokita or with specific to wellness is
Uh, with Lokyata.
also with Lokita. So far, we've been doing this for about 18 months, little less than 2 years, and so far it's been an awareness drive to see what people think, what people feel about these various topics and life skills that we're focused on. And with the context of mental health, I think I've come to realize that there is a huge section of society that is interested in knowing more about mental health. They definitely feel the need for it. They understand that there is a gap. And I think COVID has done a lot to bring it out onto the foray. As much as there are taboos of mental health around the world and in society around cultural biases and issues like that, I think COVID has done a lot to bring it into the forefront. But people still don't know what to do with it when they're faced with someone who's dealing with mental health issues or when they are feeling it for themselves. So I think that's been my experience for the most part, but people want to understand more about it. That's been my experience for Lokita. But from my standpoint, I think wellness is a holistic balance of physical, mental, emotional, financial, and spiritual success. And the mental health component of it has a great impact on all of these spheres of life,
Yes.
your personal and professional life. And mental health is very much one of the big platforms that everything else that we do relies on. That's been my experience, and that's really my definition about wellness on the whole. It's a holistic idea.
So, like when you do social work, you kind of face a lot of obstacles. So, what have you come across?
Okay. So far, it's like I wouldn't categorize myself as a social worker. That's not really where I see my. I look at us as a business. Eventually, I'm looking to be able to monetize this initiative in terms of creating a brand that people can come to and look towards to learn life skills on the whole. Mental health being a big chunk of it. But then I think people do resonate with the idea that we need this, but they don't know what to do with it. And
Yes.
I realize that parents, as a challenge, parents are not willing to accept that there is something else. I mean, predominantly, right? It's a fair
Yes.
generalization. But parents are not willing to accept that. Okay, besides the marks, these are the other things I want my kids to learn. And they say, you focus on school today. Once you graduate, once you get a job, and once you settle in life, then you figure out all these other things. But that's not really how it works. If your base is not set, if your conditioning is against how your natural flow of things work, you're not going to have a stable base. You're not going to be an emotionally sound individual. You're not going to have concrete relationships. You're not going to be able to develop yourself with grit, with mental agility throughout your your school life, your college life, and your work life. So all of that has to be nurtured through that process. And I think that is one big challenge with life skills on the whole, talking about how we need these components to go in right when we started. We can't add an ingredient after the cake is baked,
Yeah.
right? The ingredient has to be cooked while the baking is going on. And when you're doing it for the first 20, 21, 25 years, no matter where you're studying and what your school system is, you have to be baking in these components in there. And mental health, being able to deal with trauma, being able to deal with the ups and downs of life, being able to deal with puberty and your initial relationships, being able to say no. All of this comes from a place where you have a refined sense of self. You have an ability to ask questions about the world around you, your worldview, and mental health is very, very ingrained into that. And I think that's one thing that people don't understand. They say, yeah, we want to learn all these things, but we'll do it later after everybody gets 100% in school. And I think that is the biggest challenge. Society on the whole needs to begin to accept that. And I think that's the biggest challenge, in my opinion, from my experience. Is that been something you guys have seen as well from Mind Champs? Does that resonate? Because I think from some of the content I've seen, it sounds fairly similar.
Yeah, it kind of relates.
Okay.
So, what is emotional well-being and what is its importance in one's life?
So I think life, I think we can all agree that life is not fair, right? Life is just a roller coaster of incidents, activities, circumstances that happen, no matter what your socio-economic level, right? People
Yeah,
who don't have money have struggles. People who have a lot of money also have struggles. So it doesn't matter who
yes,
you are, where you come from. And these struggles cause us to go through emotional ups and downs. And we will constantly be navigating through these, these, the mental health pendulum talks a lot about this, about how we're constantly shifting moods, emotions, and frames of mind, where we are engulfed in a sea of, oops, we are engulfed in a sea of emotion, and being able to balance that out and understand how to handle that, whether it's within ourselves or whether it's the people around us that cause those emotions, we have to figure out how to handle it, because we can't be happy all the time. We
yes,
won't be sad all the time either, but there will be times where there'll be real serious roller coasters. There'll be moments of grief, there'll be moments of breakup, there'll be moments of rejection. Being able to deal with that and understand the tactics of how to balance that out emotionally is very critical to having a long-term successful life, right? Assuming you're living till 75, which is the average age, uh, you know, the, for the most part, right? 75, there's 50 years after you finish college, and
yes,
you have to be able to ride that marathon with an emotionally stable, um, and a comfortable mental well-being. So mental health is very, very ingrained in that, and I think that is something we need to be able to appreciate so that we can enable our kids to go through that. I think that's an ongoing challenge. Does
yeah,
that answer your question?
yes. We all make some or the other mistakes in our life, and people take it as a negative thing. But how can we change it into a positive outlook and learn from that?
Right. So I think when we look at mistakes, right, I think, and it depends on what I've come to realize, it depends on the society that we live in. It depends on your cultural background, the bias that they have about mistakes, about self-worth, self-esteem. And that's again a big component of mental health, right? And collective mental health. And if you look at mistakes as something positive, then you will look at them as stepping stones towards an end goal or towards success or towards something that you want a positive outcome. But if you don't, you're going to look at it as something to avoid, and you will not take the shots itself. And if we look at it, we look at mistakes in very, very different views, and it's very subjective to the person and situation. Nobody tells you that, okay, here, Tisha, I want you to start riding a bicycle, or I want you to go learn swimming lessons. Nobody tells you on the day one, I want you to get it right. Chalo, Tisha, jump in the pool and swim 10 kilometers. Nobody tells you to do that. Get on the bicycle and go right from here to the other end of the city. Nobody tells you to do that. When we pick up a bicycle, we expect that the person is going to fall down and scrape their knee. We expect that you're going to go, really fast and not be able to hit the brakes and slam your face into the wall or a tree or some crap like that, right? So we expect mistakes in some places, but we say mistakes in other places, like studying or taking on a project or showing up at work. Over there, mistakes are not okay. So that's very subjective, and it's very hypocritical in my view, that we're not self-aware enough to say that, to recognize that in some places mistakes are good, but some places no, you should not be making mistakes. Log kya kahenge? Like, can you imagine if when you were taking, when you started walking right from, 9 months old, you just started walking and saying, "Chalo, Tisha is walking," or so and so Arnold is walking. It doesn't happen like that. You have to crawl, you have to stumble, you have to fall, you have to roll over, you
Yeah.
have to figure out how to grab onto a table, and that's the process of learning to walk. In learning to walk, we have to understand that these are the step A, step B, step C are the things we should not do. So if we know what not to do, we can focus more on the things we need to do. And those what not to do's are really the mistakes. And if, unlike riding a bicycle or, swimming, where they say, okay, don't drink water, don't swallow, don't breathe in the water, which are pretty easy to say. But in life, when you go through a project, or when you're going through a relationship, or when you're, dealing with a breakup, I can't tell you, or nobody can tell you what not to do. You can put it in writing and we can make a Disney movie about it, but you have to go through the motions yourself. Each of
Yes.
us have to, and we have to know what not to do. And those are the mistakes. Those are the stepping stones towards getting towards that path. And I think the way to get around it, the way to convert it to a positive, perspective, is to embrace it, is to talk about it more. And things like what Mind Champs are doing, having conversations around mistakes, around mental health, around grit, around emotional and mental agility, is bringing to light the fact that we need to take these steps. We need to figure out what doesn't work, keep them aside, and focus on what works. That way, those mistakes are really our guidebook to say, don't do these things. And if you do everything else, that will be the way forward. And that those mistakes are really your guidebook to say, these are the things I need to not do. So I'm moving forward. And that's really the stepping stone, uh, and the path towards success. And every step of our journey over a 75-year average life has that. And we have to figure out, we are all doing a lot of things for the first time throughout our life. Sometimes we do it only once, right? We're
Yeah.
all finishing college only once. We're all only having our first relationship only once. We're all only having our first marriage only once, right? Many people do have one marriage. There are people who have multiple marriages, but through their subsequent, hopefully they've learned something from the first mistake and recover it. So we're having our first job only once. What do you do that you don't do in the later stages, right? I think embracing the fact that we can't walk into a brand new situation and say, okay, don't fall from the bicycle, okay, and now you'll be fine. Okay, don't make a mistake at your first job, now you'll be fine. It doesn't work like that. You have to hit your face on the pavement, and that's how
Yes.
you figure out how to ride a bicycle. And it's the same thing with everything else. And I think that self-awareness is lacking, and being able to talk about it. Organizations like yours and, hopefully Lokita in the long run are able to do that. And when we talk about examples like this, people will embrace them. People will accept that, okay, hey, maybe I've been looking at it the wrong way. And that causes a ripple effect. And I think I've seen one of Anaga's, I don't know whether it was her tech talk or one of the interviews she's done,
Yes.
to ask a question, where she talks about ripple effect. A ripple effect of these kinds of conversations is that you and me talk today, 20 people will hear it, or 20,000 people will hear it, and they will talk to somebody else. And that seed that is, put into them, that grows over time. And I think that is what will cascade down the line. It will snowball, and folks will start changing their minds and opening up to say, oh yeah, this is really what it is. Mistake, okay, no problem. That's really the way I see us to evolve.